Season 5 of The Score, the Team Roping Journal's podcast, where we cover the roping industry from top to bottom. This is where the team roping world talks. We talk through tough subjects, we talk big wins, and we talk real issues affecting the community. I'm your host and editor of the Team Roping Journal, Chelsea Schaefer.
Hey everyone, it's Jenna. Welcome back to The Short Score. For this weekend's bonus Roping.com tips episode, we have an audio clip from 5-time NFR qualifier Ryan Motes explaining his theories on healing and competition. He gave this speech at the 2022 U.S. Finals. This episode is brought to you by Smarty. Stay tuned to learn more. And don't forget to head over to Roping.com and sign up for a membership today. You can use the code THESCORE15 for 15% off. Roping.com is the online training resource for team ropers. In addition to thousands of videos and exclusive roping films in your back pocket, members get private access to world champion coaches like Jake Barnes, Matt Sherwood, 26-time world champion Trevor Brazil, and more every day. You can take advantage of step-by-step tutorials, run critiques, private members-only Facebook group, live video demos, and other benefits. You can join now for $29.95 per month. That code was THESCORE15 for 15% off.
Are you ready to instill the spirit of excellence? 4-time world champion and Smarty founder Alan Bach knows that in order to be a pro, you have to train like a pro. Keeping the roper's needs in mind, Smarty offers an extensive line of training products for ropers of all levels and disciplines. If you need it, we have it, including a complete saddle and apparel line to keep you and your horse in style going down the road. For more information on products, training camps, or our Smarty Young Pro incentives, you can follow us on our social media pages, or you can check out smartyroping.com. If it's not a Smarty, it's just a dummy.
You know, there's certain things that need to go right in every run, but they don't all have to go right in any particular run. So we don't have to, sometimes we get caught up in checking off the list 1, 2, 3, and 4. And a lot of times I talk and it's like, you know, most of the time we want to have good position. We want to have a good swing. We want to be in timing well with the steer. But we don't have to have, you know, as long as we got 75% of those going right, a lot of times we can still make it catch, right? And so whether that's the steers off to the right, we're a little wide on them and they step to the right, you know, that's not ideal position. But if our swing's good and our swing's strong, we're still able to pull that off. And so when we're talking about going forward, and especially when we're talking about competing over here for a lot of dough and trying to put 4 runs together, you know, with the same partner and consistent runs, what we want to do is we want to focus on, and it's real similar for everybody, but it's also real. It's a little bit different how we might have to think about it. And so for 2 different people, it might be something different. There might be 1 or 2 things that you really need to focus on. But often, especially healing, but definitely heading to, you know, if we're sitting there and we're trying to go through the motions and check off this list, and it's like, oh heck, I should have healed him right there, you know, but we were trying to be too precise and too perfect. So when we talk about coming over here, there's a few things, whether that's leaving the box and getting our width, or, you know, or leaving the box and getting our first swing up strong, you know, sharp, that way we're not beating, chasing them, you know. So there's a few things, instead of thinking about all of the complete, you know, we can think about a million different things that we would like to go right, but they don't all have to go right on any particular run. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and trying to figure out, you know, we're talking about a little bit what we're doing today is we're trying to prepare you guys to win tomorrow or whenever we're open. And so when we're talking about that, that's where we start talking about the fact that there's certain things you need to do to be prepared, and certain things you need to focus on, whether that's, you know, dropping sharp and really getting your first swing up and going, that way we're not on the chase, or whether it's something we need to do with our handle, but we're not going to want to go in there with thinking about 15 different things all at once. And so the simpler, team roping's hard, right? There's so many moving parts anyhow. So the simpler we can make it, the easier we can diagnose what's wrong with it. You know, if like trying to work on your truck now, you know, if you have truck trouble right now, I don't know where to start, you know, but there's so much, you got to plug it in. It's like if we're trying to heal a steer and plug it into the computer, you know, to see what's wrong with it at the same time, we're toast. You know, we're beat already. It has to flow. It has to feel good. We can't have to just think about all the million things that need to go right, because by that time the steer's in the stripping chute. You know, he's already gone. And so trying to figure out the things at the house that we need to work on and need to improve on and be honest with ourselves. Yet when we go to the roping, we don't think, you know, like if we have trouble splitting the horns, sometimes the last thing we need to do is back in the box, right? And think, boy, I hope I don't split the horns right here. Because then we're already beat before we go. We think about the things that we do good, and then we, you know, go from there. Whether that's talking like with a healer about trying to be aggressive and getting your position set up and finding your first available throw, or we're talking about getting your distance, but the few things you need to do. And that way there, if we're rolling through the roping over here, and I know I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. There's been several people, you know, the 16 short round fell complete apart over here the other day. And it's not that people are trying to change too much, but a lot of times if they tell you got to be 16 to win the roping, you know, that doesn't mean you have to be 16. If you're 24 on 3 and you've been 8 flat every time, go try to be 8 flat again, and guess if you get a leg, you still win the roping. You know, and so trying to set your guys' run up. The team deal works good because people get to put the runs together. You know, we're wanting to build you know, a run that works for you guys to go win something, and whether that's, you know, everybody's seen it for whatever reason, but with the great jackpot teams, you know, it looks like they have a game plan when they go in there. They're not just going in there individual hoping it works out, right? They get to rope together, and so they get to build together, and that's how the great teams have always been, you know. And myself, I've roped with different people, and knowing whether I roped with a bomber and knew I was more the catch kind of guy, or I've roped with, you know, people that rope really good, and I know they're going to run down there and set them up really, really good, you know, for me. And when I know that, I'm able to keep my position better and set it up where I know going into the run, I'm gonna have to be sharp and aggressive, and I'm gonna have to be the guy that kind of sets it up. And it works both ways. Jackpotting really does, because we see it all the time. We see teams with people, and they run them down to here and they handle them really, really good. Well, I'm great with that. You know, if we run them to here and handle them bad, that's when it's hard. But if somebody's gonna catch them way up there, they don't have to handle them quite as good, because I'm able to know that I'm gonna be able to come in there and set my shot up and really line them out and heal them on the third jump, versus I'm going to need to rope them in the open on the first, second jump for sure down here. And so, you know, the runs all look a lot different, you know, whether that's the Clay Smith, the greatest teams there are, you know, the Clay Smith, Driggers, you know what their run's going to kind of look like, you know, and, you know, it goes forward, and those are the guys that do good. And then when the teams like I said, Driggers and Junior, it looks like they can do everything, right? And that's what the great teams are. That's the Jake and Clay, the Speed and Rich. It looks like it doesn't matter what they want to do, you know, they can go forward and make that run work.